All right, man. Good stuff. And you want to start off with the Auburn, Alabama Iron Bowl here?
Yeah, this game was really fascinating to me as far as like numbers go, because for anybody who watches this knows I'm a big numbers and stats guy. I follow trends and the historical facets of numbers. And this one, just check out some of these, Drew. First off, October 20th was the last time Alabama allowed an SEC offense to score a touchdown. That was against Tennessee. Now think about that for a second. Over a month has gone by. The last SEC team to score in Alabama was Tennessee. Another one I thought was fascinating. Drew, I don't know if you know this, but in the last 163 games of Nick Saban, 104 of teams that they've faced have not been able to put up 300 yards of total offense. Now think about that for a second. That's just mind-boggling to me. But let's talk about this Auburn-Alabama game. First off, the last line I saw was 24 for Auburn getting 24. Over-under was 53. Last 2 years, total points in this game was 40 and 42. Alabama also. The one other thing I did want to make a mention of is a lot of people are thinking of this game as the LSU-Alabama game we saw earlier in the year. Auburn's offense, I do feel, is a little bit better, but also, oh, by the way, Auburn, since Gus Malzahn has taken over for the Tigers, have not been shut out in 78 straight games. In fact, the last time Auburn was shut out was the last game with Gene Chizik, and that was against Alabama. I think they lost like 49-0 back in 2013. So a lot of interesting trends and numbers. And before I go even more, Drew, just kind of what's your take? I mean, we've seen Alabama do it all this year. What do you think about going into this one?
Yeah, I mean, I need to say first and foremost, I'm an Auburn graduate, so I'm looking at it kind of from a biased view, and I haven't touched it from a betting perspective. And you bring up, I believe the year you're talking about was 2012, and
2012.
If I'm not mistaken, Auburn was about a 33-point underdog, and they lost 49-0 in that game. So in the Iron Bowl, Alabama has proven in the past to kind of throw the rivalry out and just kind of take it out on Auburn and cover these big spreads. Right now, looking at SBR odds, we're seeing Alabama minus 24 across the board at home, 53 the total at 5 dimes, seeing 52.5 at Bet Online. So just as far as breaking it down from a matchup standpoint, obviously Alabama is the stronger side, the more talented side. I think they have the more talented quarterback as well, especially a quarterback that fits into the offense better. I think, as long as Tua is healthy, I think Alabama can make this 24 points look small, especially in the second half, kind of running over Auburn, because I do think Auburn, especially in the defensive front, can give them issues and kind of hold the Alabama offense at bay. But I think, possession after possession, Alabama's going to kind of take over the more talented, their offensive line leaning on them. And if I had to pick it from a spread standpoint, I would be on the Alabama Crimson Tide, as much as it hurts me to say, Asher.
No, and I'm going to agree with you on the point spread simply because, check this out, Alabama actually going for their 11th straight win by at least 20 points. They're already at 10. They've got 10 in a row already as it is, 20-plus point wins. I think this is a screaming Alabama blowout once again. I'm not going to buy the hype what we saw with LSU. They were on the road, in fact, in that game, and they absolutely shut out LSU. I think Auburn's offense is on par with LSU's offense. For those that think Stidham is this great quarterback, he actually has a worse throwing percentage at Auburn than Cam Newton. Cam Newton was a 66% thrower. Stidham's a 64% thrower. I just think Alabama takes care of business. I do, though, think 53 is a bit high, especially for what I think will be a very one-sided matchup, because kind of like the way we saw LSU getting 15 or 14 against Alabama, I think the over-under in that one was somewhere like 48, 49. Alabama covered rather easily because they shut them out, but also they hit the under. I see this game being the under, but like you, I agree. I think Alabama covers rather easily.
Yeah, and looking at the series history, I mean, Auburn has had a rough time in Tuscaloosa. I believe the last time they won was 2010, and that, like you just mentioned, Cam Newton was the quarterback that year. They went on to win the national championship. So it's been really tough for everybody, outside of Cam Newton and Johnny Manziel. I mean, Not many teams go into Tuscaloosa and come out with a victory. So,
and how about this one, Drew? Who was the last team outside the top 15 to beat Alabama?
Louisiana Monroe.
Actually, it was South Carolina in 2010. That was the first time actually it happened since 2008. It just doesn't happen under Nick Saban. I know people say anything can happen in rivalry games. Yeah, that's fun for TV announcers to say. Don't buy it when you got Alabama, who, is really that good. I mean, think about this, folks. They've beaten everybody this year by at least 20 points. And that's like half trying. So imagine what they're going to do against Auburn. And oh, by the way, in the first half this year, Drew, Alabama has outscored their opponents 289-68.
Great stat there, Asher. Hey, you bring up Stidham. What's your thinking on Stidham? Do you think he's going to the NFL? Do you think he'll even he'll be recognized as a top pick, like some people, like you said, on TV are saying? And what about his fit in the Malzahn offense? Because I don't think he's a good fit. I think they need more of the Nick Marshall type, Cam Newton type people to run around with this offense. I think more of the pocket passer, throw it downfield. I don't think it's that good of a fit. So if I'm Gus Malzahn, not that I would push him out to the NFL, but I'd wish him well and kind of get a little bit more dual threat in there at the quarterback position. What do you think?
I think Stidham's got the arm, but you're right. He's not a fit for what Auburn does. Auburn, you need to be dual threat. You need to be able to have that run RPO option. And I think with Stidham, we kind of know it's kind of like when Brad Kyle was at Miami when they ran that RPO, but you knew damn well Brad Kyle was never going to run with the football. And I think that's kind of what you get taken away when you have Stidham. I think if I'm Stidham, I'm going to the NFL simply because of the need at the position. And this year, if Justin Herbert doesn't go out, who is really another stud candidate? I'm not sold on Locke. David Jones over at Duke is considering, to be the number 3 quarterback prospect. Then you got Will Grier. None of those guys are really runners. So it could be a good year for Stidham to leave simply because of supply and demand of what's going to be looking for in the NFL draft.
Okay, good stuff there, Asher. You want to throw out anything else? Auburn, Alabama. Sounds like you're leaning with the Crimson Tide and you're liking the under a little bit, huh?
Yeah. I'm going to go with the under. I know traditionally, people like to get excited about rivalry games and keeping them close, but I just don't see it happening. In fact, let's see here. What else do I got? Auburn, the thing with Auburn, they've held 7 of 11 teams this year to 0 rushing touchdowns. But again, this is Alabama. And really, it's like Alabama, Clemson are in a whole nother stratosphere compared to everybody else. I think too many people get caught in how good the SEC is. I'm one of those guys that says here every week, I think the SEC is completely overrated top to bottom. I think Alabama's a clear-cut number 1. I think Georgia and LSU are very good. And then I think everybody else is everybody else. And it's shown throughout the year. In fact, I don't know if anybody's actually looked at SEC numbers, but Alabama's got the number 1 offense, number 1 defense. But then, 5 of the last 20 offenses out of 126 in the country, 129, are from the SEC. So, I'm just not buying this SEC loyalty that we see from the media every year. I think they're very overrated. I think it's Alabama and everybody else.
Hey guys, thanks for tuning in to our channel. Now, we've put a lot of work into producing all these free videos, so please help us out and keep all our content free for you forever by simply liking, sharing, commenting, and subscribing. Now, not to mention, a visit to our industry-leading website will warm the hearts of all our SBR employees, especially myself. Now, the links are over there to the left, so do check those out. Thanks for watching.